A single machine that can grab a 100-foot tree, cut it down in seconds, strip every branch, and slice it into perfect logs, all before you finish your coffee. The 1980s unleashed mechanical monsters that changed logging forever. These weren't just machines, they were 40-ton beasts with hydraulic jaws devouring entire groves. Today, we're counting down the 10 most powerful forest harvesters that dominated the decade. Number 10. Timberjack 1270. Kicking off our list is the Timberjack 1270, introduced in 1987 and instantly recognized as a game-changer for selective logging operations. This machine represented Timberjack's bold entry into the purpose-built harvester market, and boy did they make an entrance. The 1270 packed a Cummins diesel engine delivering 185 horsepower, serious grunt for its era. But power wasn't its only trick. The real innovation was its harvester head, capable of handling trees up to 24 inches in diameter. That might sound modest by today's standards, but in the late 80s, this made it perfect for the thinning operations that were becoming standard forestry practice. What set the 1270 apart was its crane reach of nearly 33 feet and a lifting capacity that allowed operators to process trees without constantly repositioning the machine. This saved fuel, reduced ground disturbance, and dramatically increased productivity. Operators loved its visibility from the cab, a crucial safety feature when you're surrounded by falling timber. The machine featured Timberjack's proprietary articulated frame design, giving it remarkable maneuverability in tight forest conditions. Its 6-wheel configuration distributed weight efficiently, reducing soil compaction, a growing environmental concern even in the 1980s. Production numbers tell the story. Within 2 years, the 1270 became one of the best-selling harvesters in North America, proving that Timberjack understood what modern forestry operations needed. Number 9. Rottne EGS. Sweden has always been at the forefront of forest technology, and the Rottne EGS from 1982 exemplified Scandinavian engineering excellence. The EGS, which stood for Electronic Grapple System, was revolutionary for integrating early computer technology into forest operations. This machine featured a Valmet diesel engine producing 150 horsepower, paired with a hydraulic system that was remarkably sophisticated for its time. But the real star was its measuring system, one of the first to offer digital length measurement and automatic cross-cutting optimization. Imagine this. An operator could input desired log lengths, and the harvester head would automatically calculate the optimal cutting pattern to maximize value from each tree. In an era when calculators were still novel, this was like having a supercomputer in the forest. The EGS weighed approximately 14 tons, making it nimble enough for first thinning operations while still robust enough for final felling. Its 8-wheel drive system provided exceptional traction on Sweden's often muddy, uneven terrain. The suspended cabin reduced operator fatigue, crucial for maintaining productivity during long shifts. Rottne produced these machines primarily for the Scandinavian market, where forestry practices emphasized sustainable harvesting and precision. The EGS influenced an entire generation of Swedish harvesters, establishing design principles still used today. Number 8. John Deere 693D Feller Buncher. Now, technically, a feller buncher isn't a harvester in the traditional sense. It cuts and bunches trees but doesn't process them. However, the John Deere 693D was so powerful and influential in 1980s forestry that excluding it would be criminal. Introduced in 1988, the 693D represented John Deere's commitment to dominating the mechanized forestry sector. At its heart was a turbocharged diesel engine, cranking out 235 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful forest machines of the decade. The 693D could fell trees up to 30 inches in diameter with its massive shear head, accumulating multiple trees before depositing them in organized bunches for skidders. In southern pine plantations, a skilled operator could bunch 200 tons of timber per shift, productivity that was unthinkable just a decade earlier. Its tracked undercarriage provided stability on slopes up to 35 degrees, and the 360-degree continuous rotation of its upper structure meant operators never lost time repositioning. The cab featured air conditioning, stereo sound, and ergonomic controls, luxuries that attracted operators in an industry notorious for harsh working conditions. The 693D became the backbone of industrial forestry operations across the American South, where fast-growing pine plantations demanded high-volume harvesting equipment. Its reliability made it a legend. Many units logged over 20,000 hours before major overhauls. Number 7. Valmet 941. When Valmet introduced the 941 in 1986, they weren't just building another harvester. They were engineering a solution to Scandinavia's challenging forestry conditions. This machine became synonymous with reliability in harsh environments. The 941 featured a Valmet 612DS diesel engine producing 165 horsepower. Paired with a hydraulic system that could maintain consistent pressure even in sub-zero temperatures. This was critical for operations in northern Finland and Sweden, where winter logging was essential. Its harvester head could handle trees from saplings to giants measuring 26 inches thick. The delimbing knives were adjustable for different species, a thoughtful feature that reduced waste and improved log quality. The measuring system used a mechanical wheel encoder, primitive by modern standards but remarkably accurate for its era. What made the 941 special was its modular design. Components could be replaced or upgraded without major disassembly, meaning less downtime and lower maintenance costs. For contractors operating in remote areas, this was invaluable. The machine's frame was built like a tank, with reinforced steel construction that could withstand the punishment of rocky Scandinavian terrain. Its 8-wheel bogie system with hydraulic oscillation allowed it to traverse obstacles that would stop lesser machines. Valmet sold thousands of 941 units throughout the late 80s, and remarkably, some are still in operation today, testament to their legendary durability. Number 6. Hydroax 570. American engineering met Swedish innovation when Hydroax released the 5070 in 1984. This machine represented a transitional period when North American manufacturers were learning from European harvester technology while maintaining their own design philosophy. The 570 was powered by a Caterpillar 336 diesel engine delivering 215 horsepower raw American muscle. But its harvester head was a license-built Scandinavian design, combining the best of both worlds. This hybrid approach made it incredibly versatile. The machine excelled in mixed-species forests common in the Pacific Northwest and the Great Lakes region. Its head could process Douglas fir, hemlock, and hardwoods with equal efficiency, something many European-designed harvesters struggled with. The 570's carrier was built on a wheeled excavator platform, providing exceptional stability and a working reach of 36 feet. This made it ideal for roadside processing, where operators could stand on gravel while processing trees from the forest edge, faster and less damaging to soils. Its cabin was massive for the era, featuring climate control and sound insulation that brought noise levels down to 80 decibels, almost conversational. This attention to operator comfort paid dividends in productivity. As fatigued operators make mistakes, Hydroax marketed the 570 aggressively, and it became a common sight in North American forests throughout the mid to late 80s. Its reputation for handling big timber made it a favorite in old-growth harvesting operations. Number 5. Rottne Rapid. As the 1980s drew to a close, Rottne unleashed the Rapid, a machine that lived up to its name. This was Sweden's answer to the demand for faster, more efficient harvesting in plantation forestry. The Rapid featured a turbocharged Volvo engine producing 180 horsepower. But its real innovation was its hydraulic system, which operated at higher pressures than competitors. This meant faster crane movements and quicker processing times. Every second saved multiplied across hundreds of trees per day. The harvester head was a marvel of engineering, with feed rollers that moved at variable speeds depending on tree diameter. Smaller trees could be processed at lightning speed, while larger timber received more controlled handling. This adaptability made it perfect for progressive thinning operations. The Rapid's carrier used Rottne's patented pendulum arm suspension, which kept the cabin remarkably level even when traversing rough terrain. Operators reported significantly less fatigue compared to rigid frame machines, a huge advantage during 10-hour shifts. The machine's computer system, advanced for 1989, could store data on every tree processed, species, diameter, length, and volume. This data could be downloaded at day's end, providing contractors with precise production information, revolutionary for an industry that had always operated on rough estimates. The Rapid achieved processing speeds exceeding 100 trees per hour in ideal conditions, a benchmark that turned heads across the industry. Number 4. Timberjack 1270B. Timberjack didn't rest on the success of the 1270. In 1989, they released the 1270B, a refined beast that addressed every complaint operators had about the original. The B model boosted power to 200 horsepower with an upgraded Cummins engine, but more importantly, it featured a completely redesigned hydraulic system with load-sensing technology. This meant the hydraulics only consumed power when actively working, dramatically reducing fuel consumption, a first in the harvester world. The harvester head could now handle trees up to 28 inches in diameter, and the delimbing knives featured an auto-adjustment system that optimized knife pressure based on tree species. This reduced bark damage on valuable hardwoods while maintaining aggressive delimbing on pines. Timberjack introduced what they called the Comfort Plus cabin, larger windows, better ergonomics, and a suspended seat with lumbar support. These might seem like minor improvements, but they transformed operator well-being and attracted better talent to the profession. The 1270B also featured improved serviceability, with daily maintenance points accessible from ground level. This reduced service time and improved safety, as technicians weren't climbing all over the machine. Sales figures were impressive. The 1270B outsold its predecessor 3-to-1 in North American markets. It became the benchmark against which all other harvesters were measured as the decade closed. Number 3. Valmet 921 Combi. The Valmet 921 Combi, introduced in 1983, was a machine ahead of its time. While most manufacturers built dedicated harvesters or dedicated forwarders, Valmet created a combination machine that could do both, hence the Combi designation. This versatility was powered by a Valmet 611 diesel engine, producing 145 horsepower. Modest power that was meticulously managed through brilliant engineering. The machine could quickly swap between harvester head and forwarder crane, making it ideal for small contractors who couldn't justify owning multiple machines. In harvester mode, the 921 could process trees up to 22 inches in diameter with precision. In forwarder mode, its 10-ton load capacity meant it could extract the timber it had just processed, a complete one-machine operation. The Combi concept was particularly popular in Norway and Central European forests, where terrain and regulations favored smaller, more flexible operations. The machine's 6-wheel drive and articulated frame gave it extraordinary maneuverability in tight spaces. What really set the 921 Combi apart was its economics. A contractor could own one machine instead of two, reducing capital costs, insurance, and maintenance overhead. For operations processing 10,000 to 20,000 cubic meters annually, this was the perfect solution. Valmet produced the 921 Combi throughout the 1980s, and it influenced future multifunction forestry machines. The concept proved that sometimes versatility beats pure power. Number 2. OSA Twin 5 Giant. Swedish manufacturer OSA shocked the forestry world in 1985 with the 250 Giant, and the name wasn't marketing hyperbole. This was genuinely a giant among harvesters. The machine was built around a Volvo TD121G diesel engine, producing a staggering 260 horsepower, the most powerful harvester engine of the entire decade. This power was necessary because the 250 Giant was designed specifically for large-diameter timber harvesting in Swedish and Finnish forests. Its harvester head could grip trees up to 32 inches in diameter, capabilities that seemed excessive until you watched it work in old-growth forests. The feed rollers were powered independently, allowing the machine to process massive logs with the same efficiency that smaller harvesters handled saplings. The 250 Giant weighed 22 tons, but its weight was carefully distributed across 8 massive wheels with low ground pressure tires. This allowed it to work in sensitive areas without causing the ground damage you'd expect from such a heavy machine. The crane boom extended over 40 feet and could lift loads exceeding 3 tons at full extension, essential when processing heavy, long logs. The hydraulic system operated at pressures that required special seals and hoses, but the performance justified the engineering challenges. OSA marketed the 250 Giant to large forestry companies and governmental operations, handling final felling in mature forests. Its price tag was substantial, roughly double that of conventional harvesters, but for high-volume operations, it paid for itself in increased productivity. Production was limited, with fewer than 100 units built, making the 250 Giant a rare sight even at its peak. Today, surviving examples are considered collector's items among forestry equipment enthusiasts. Number 1. Timbco T425. Taking the top spot is the legendary Timbco T425. Introduced in 1987 and immediately recognized as the pinnacle of 1980s harvester technology. This wasn't just the most powerful, it was the most complete harvester package of the decade. The T425 was built around a Detroit diesel 6V92 TA engine, producing 270 horsepower, more power than some logging trucks. This immense engine was paired with a hydraulic system that could deliver 120 gallons per minute at 3,500 psi, providing instantaneous response to operator commands. The harvester head was a masterpiece of engineering, capable of gripping trees up to 36 inches in diameter, the largest processing capacity of any production harvester in the 1980s. Its delimbing knives could be programmed for different species, and the measuring system used laser technology for unprecedented accuracy and length measurement. The T425's carrier was based on a modified excavator platform, providing 360-degree continuous rotation and a working reach of 43 feet. The boom was constructed from high-tensile steel with built-in dampening to reduce vibration and improve precision. But the cabin was where the T425 truly shined. It featured the first fully computerized control system in a production harvester, with a digital display showing fuel consumption, production rates, maintenance intervals, and diagnostics. Operators could adjust harvester head settings without leaving the seat, maximizing uptime. The cabin itself was pressurized to keep out dust and equipped with full climate control, a premium sound system, and ergonomic controls that reduced operator fatigue. Visibility was enhanced by massive windows and strategically placed mirrors, giving operators complete awareness of their surroundings. Timbco positioned the T425 as a premium product, and the pricing reflected this. It was the most expensive harvester available in the 1980s. However, contractors who invested in the T425 reported productivity increases of 30 to 40% compared to previous generation machines. The machine could process over 150 trees per hour in optimal conditions, and its fuel efficiency was remarkable given its power output. The Detroit diesel engine, though thirsty by modern standards, was incredibly reliable and easy to service, critical for operations running 2 or 3 shifts daily. Timbco built the T425 primarily for the North American market, where large diameter timber and high production demands justified its capabilities. It became the machine of choice for major forestry operations in the Pacific Northwest, British Columbia, and the southeastern Pine Belt. What made the T425 the definitive 1980s harvester wasn't just its specifications, it was how it represented the culmination of a decade of rapid advancement. It combined power, precision, operator comfort, and reliability in a package that wouldn't be surpassed until well into the 1990s. Which of these forest harvesters was your favorite? Did you operate any of these machines, or did I miss a harvester that deserves recognition? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into forestry history, smash that like button and subscribe for more industrial equipment content. Next week, we're exploring the most powerful skidders of the 1990s. You won't want to miss it.